Oh, you have one. These are for the judge's signature.
Okay.
We have like
Do you have that folder?
11 people.
That's not bad.
Do we have what?
It has that green color that says judge.
Oh, you just want the whole thing?
Yeah, there is. For any of these chairs.
We're gonna dismiss this one with that. Yeah, he actually, it wasn't him driving his dad's car, it was. He had like a surgery that day and just hadn't, he just didn't have the temporary tag for the handicap on him. But it's not anything of him driving.
Is he gonna show or just we'll put this on the record?
I'll put it on the record. He showed me the tag and all that.
Okay.
And I told him he's good to go.
Nice to meet you in person. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming out. You might be waiting a second. We got a few more people there.
Philippe,
Hey, how's it going? I'm doing all right. How you doing? Yeah, you know, they'll show up on me.
hello, Your Honor. How are you?
Busier than normal day.
Gotten a few. This is Officer Caleb Wilson.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
This is our Judge Ron Carlson. Caleb went through the academy last year and
Very good.
he's an official officer now,
Cool.
doing a good job. But he is testifying in our bench trial tonight.
Cool.
Did you know we have a bench trial tonight?
I vaguely remember that.
Okay.
When we only meet every 2 months, it's kind of like,
Yeah, I know. I can't harass you enough, can I? And we
it's
have,
not like the old days.
yeah, well,
What's with the remodel? What are they doing? Or is it just
they're
repair?
just fixing bricks.
Okay.
It was really loud last week.
I thought maybe they can put on a third story.
Right, no. They can't handle what they
What
have.
part of the world you from?
Como, all about fair play. So originally from
Been
there,
to
but
Como bunch. You take Boreas Pass over
nice.
and
Breeze Pass?
Boreas.
Oh, it's like,
Pass.
where are you from?
Boreas. Boreas.
Breeze.
That's my Park County accent.
Oh, okay. Are you living over there?
No, that's originally where I'm from, but
Oh.
I'm down in Littleton right now. So
Yeah.
He's one of our
Fun
commuters.
part of the world. But used to have lunch at the hotel, and I can't remember what the name of it is.
In Como?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I've ever been there.
Fair Play Hotel.
Well, that's in downtown Fairplay. This is over in Como. It's a white
Como Depot.
building. Oh, it's like before you get to the roundhouse.
Yeah, the Como Depot.
That's it.
You have some good food.
Guess
Yep.
we're missing it all.
Used to. I haven't been there in quite a while.
I've been there for a few years. Last time I went there, pretty good. So
So are you comfortable with everything
yeah,
you're doing?
yeah. So we got a little stage fright, so let's see how this goes.
This is his first trial.
It's not a big deal.
He's,
Nick knows right questions to ask.
yeah,
He'll help you.
unlike prior. I didn't say it. And Ron's very fair. He explains things. So sometimes too fair. Just saying.
Yes,
We only have 2 cases
I
up
had
right now, so.
had a reschedule in order to accommodate my prosecutor in Blackhawk. We moved Blackhawk from next week to this week.
Oh,
So I did Silverthorne, went to Blackhawk, came back.
oh Lord, put some miles on, huh?
Yeah, not that many.
At least you're not worried about a snowstorm. It's a little bit easier.
Yeah. Yeah. But I had one guy who, he was offered a deferred and he just didn't grasp the concept.
Oh,
So it was so bad, people from the audience were calling out to him. So, the funniest thing happened about 6 months ago. You have to always warn people that anything they say can be, well, I don't want to explain to you. You have to understand whatever you say, there's a trial. So this guy goes through his explanations and a theft case. And I don't know what to do. And like 10 people from the audience yell out, dude, you're guilty. Take the deal.
Awesome.
I did not keep a straight face. I can't tell you what to do, but apparently other people have. Yes,
did he take the deal? And
but it
that-
was so fun.
How long did that take?
The rest of the audience was disgusted by how long this was going on. And this was wasn't quite as good, but the guy's going on. And someone finally shouts out, so plead no contest. I love the audience giving legal advice.
Did they know what they were talking about, or they were just?
No, they were right.
Why? But
That's what makes it so fun.
yeah. They weren't attorneys by any means.
No.
What part of the world have you been in?
Just here.
Yeah. Not until you're right at all.
Yeah, I've been there some.
More.
In Aspen. I mean, I spent most of June over in Aspen.
Yeah.
My twin daughters live over there.
Okay.
And, but I volunteered. 1 week was for food and wine and 2 weeks for the Aspen Ideas Festival. So, and, you know, hike some trails, bike some paths.
And Polly go with you or?
She was in the area part of the time. She had some horse training up in Carbondale. So,
Okay.
there's a place, I don't know how much you know the geography over there. Basically, the first traffic light south of where 131 splits off.
No, I don't know it that well. I
There's a,
stayed in Carbondale. My son was competing at Aspen. That's
Yeah.
as much as I can tell you. And then I
Okay.
didn't see anything but the mountain.
well, there's a whole, you know, there's all these hidden areas that are up on the mesas.
Mhm.
And there's a place called Missouri Heights, which is south of Carbondale and east of the highway. And a whole bunch of horse stuff up there.
I could see it in that area.
You don't have anything ready yet?
Well, there's 2 cases.
Well, I guess we could do them.
If you would like to, that's your call. You are the
Then
judge.
why we,
No hang on here.
If you want to sit and watch how things go, it probably wouldn't hurt you to watch it. There's no trials, but. This
I
is,
forgot to tell you, you know, I ran into Andy Erickson Rotary
oh, yeah. You-
and he was afraid he'd started a rumor. So I
Thank you.
sent an email.
Nick,
on
this
his
is
phone.
Kayla.
Yeah.
No one did that.
Judge, this was in my packet, but this is actually, for the trial.
Okay.
This is that packet, so
All
I
right,
don't,
very good.
Why do you have it?
I don't know, yeah, I just. It's the old,
Things happen.
yeah,
Well, I don't want.
It's just paper.
yeah, and I will tell him, I see him out there, so I'll tell him.
Oh, you
to
do,
come in
because
here and sit
he
in
hasn't signed the advisement of trial rights yet.
Oh, is that what it is?
I don't know why it is in with your stuff, but we'll figure it out.
Okay,
Let me just.
How is Leadville?
good, so I'll tell you really quick, so there's 2 girls.
Okay,
Charged at the same time for graffiti. One girl I offered, there are 2 18-year-old girls. One girl I offered $25 fine plus 12 hours community service plus all the other fees that they have, right? The other girl I offered the exact same deal, right? The partners in crime. She says, you know, I don't really want to do the community service because I haven't told my parents about this. So like, okay, well, I'm gonna ask you to pay an extra $200 in fine. She's like, sure thing. So she takes the deal, pays the extra. So the one girl pays 120 something or whatever it is, plus 12 hours for use service. This girl's 300 something. So the judge is advising her, and the girl appears from Massachusetts. I guess she was in town on vacation or something. Judge is advising her. She's like, well, what's your mailing address? Because we need you to get the original copy of this document, sign it. So we're gonna send it to you, and then you're gonna send the document back with a check with your payment. You just see the alarm bells going off in this girl's head, like, I'm gonna have to watch the mail every single day so I can keep running this scam.
Yeah.
And she starts freaking out, and like, it was really funny just
Yeah.
to see happen in real time.
Can't tell the parents.
Yeah, she's 18. I'm like, first off, if you're bold enough to do this graffiti rundown, you should be bold enough to figure out a lie to get 12 hours of community service. Like,
But see, you're thinking with an adult brain.
yeah,
But one of the things I've really gotten into is this research that the adult brain doesn't happen until 25.
oh, God, it's
Yeah.
3 more years.
I mean, I would have a friend, you know, join some youth group in church or something, or,
Yeah.
you know, you gotta think of something.
Yeah.
They'll be suspicious of that one. Actually, I have 2 years with my son.
Yeah, the files up there.
Yes, they're face down in order. And then we have another one that we have to dismiss at the end of everything,
Okay.
just to put it on the record.
Please put it on the record.
It's your first
I have Mark McCullough, filed by Ariel, if I can read the handwriting, Shrem,
Are you Mr. McCullough?
Yes.
That's,
and then Frolin. Those are
Okay.
the three I have.
I just wanted to make sure they at least were in the room. Please rise. Today is the 17th day of July in the year 2024. The Frisco Municipal Court is now in session with the Honorable Judge Ron Carlson presiding.
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this session, our July session of 2024 for the municipal court for the town of Frisco. For many of you, it's the first time you're in court, or at least the first time in this court. Each case requires I go through at least one checklist, if not two checklists. These are designed, one, to make sure why you understand why the case started. To that end, I'm required to advise you of the nature of the charge against you, the maximum possible penalty, and to ask questions that make sure you read and understood your legal rights. As to the nature of the charge, I just read the name of the charge. It's not meant to get into the facts of your case, but rather, if you're charged with speeding, do you know what speeding means? Not how fast you were going or not going. And again, that's an allegation to be determined by however you handle your case. And then if a plea is entered, there's a little set of 4 questions I have to ask. So please be patient. These take time, but they're designed to protect your legal rights. First case I have is Mark McCullough. Could you come to the podium, sir? Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Sir, you were summoned to court to answer allegations that you violated Model Traffic Code Section 1101, speeding 10 to 19 miles an hour over the posted limit. Do you understand the nature of the charge?
Yes, sir.
The maximum possible penalty is a fine of up to $1,000 and 4 points on your driving record. Well, the scheduled fine is much less. Do you understand the penalty?
Yes, sir.
You were provided a written advisement of legal rights. Did you get a chance to read and review that?
I did.
Do you have any
Yes.
questions about your legal rights?
No, sir.
Do you feel you understand them?
Yes, sir.
Do you know what a trial is?
Yes.
Do you understand you have all the rights leading up to a trial and that you'd have in a trial?
Yes,
And you understand you have a right to an attorney?
I do.
I have paperwork that says instead of that, well, I guess, yes, it's, the town is offering to have you plead guilty to a 2-point defective vehicle. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
You understand by pleading guilty to this amended charge, you are giving up all the rights listed in the right sheet, which means there'll be no trial, there'll be no witnesses. The prosecutor will not have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You are giving up your presumption of innocence and a right to an attorney.
I understand that.
Did anybody threaten you, force you, coerce you, or otherwise make you plead guilty against your will?
No, sir.
Anybody promise you anything not said in court?
No, sir.
Is this your free and voluntary plea?
It is.
Are you under the influence of anything that affects your ability to make a decision?
No, sir.
Now, we've covered those qualifying questions. How do you plead to 2-point defective vehicle?
Guilty.
Court accepts your plea, find to be freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. You're entitled to, and you're welcome to make a statement either about what happened or what the penalty should be, but you're also not required to say anything further. Is there anything you'd like to tell me?
No, sir.
All right. Court will impose $70 fine, and our costs and surcharge are 30 and 25. So that gets you to 125. Can you pay that today?
Yes, sir.
Please see my court.
Okay.
Ariel Shrem, how do you say your name?
Yeah,
Good afternoon, ma'am.
so sorry, my smile is just,
You're fine.
I just feel like I'm on TV.
Okay. Ma'am, you're summoned to court to answer charges that you were speeding contrary to Model Traffic Code Section 1101, paragraph 3, specifically 20 to 39 over. Do you understand that charge?
Yes,
The maximum penalty, a quick math here. you're okay because the penalty is 6 points on your driving record and a fine of up to $2,650. If you've been going any faster, if you were more than 25 over, there could be a 10-day jail penalty.
Yeah.
But you're under 25. Oh, you're just
Yeah.
22 over. 27. Actually, you are 27. They didn't charge it that. So there's no jail penalty being sought. This is the bottom line. Do you understand the penalty?
Yes.
You were provided the written advisement of legal rights. Did you get a chance to read and review the legal rights?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about those legal rights?
No.
Do you feel you understand them?
Yes.
Do you know what a trial is?
Yes.
You understand you have all the rights leading up to a trial and that you have a trial.
Yes.
You understand you have a right to an attorney.
Yes.
I have paperwork that says instead of that, you wish to plead guilty to a 3-point speeding ticket, special hazards type speeding. Is that what you wish to do?
Yes.
You understand that by pleading guilty to that amended charge, you are giving up all the rights listed in the right sheet, which means there'll be no trial, there'll be no witnesses. The prosecutor will not have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You're giving up your presumption of innocence and right to an attorney.
Yeah.
Did anybody threaten you, force you, coerce you, or otherwise make you plead guilty against your will?
No.
Did anybody promise you anything that's not been said in court?
No.
Is this your free and voluntary plea?
Yes.
Are you under the influence of anything that affects your ability to make a decision?
No.
Now, we've covered all those qualifying questions. How do you plead to 3-point speed?
Yeah, guilty, but I have a question about, the city council told me to ask about, the driving class that like, because I have a completely clean record, I've never had a ticket. If we can not do that, he said that you suggested.
That was part of the agreement you reached with the prosecutor.
Okay. Yeah, he told me to ask you
And
if it's something that.
generally on 6-pointers,
Okay,
the prosecutor told you to ask?
yeah,
Well,
he said to say that you, like, yeah, that typically.
since you have a completely clean driving record, I will let it go in hopes that we don't ever
Thank
see.
you.
Yeah, brought back where we were. So to the charge of 3-point speeding, you plead,
Guilty.
or accepts your plea, find you freely, voluntarily, and knowingly. You're entitled to make a statement either about what happened or what the penalty should be, and I guess you partially have it. Is there something else you'd like to tell me? Okay. Court will impose a $125 fine. 30 and 25. I believe gets us to 180. Can you pay that today?
Yeah,
Or do you
do
need
I
time?
have to pay today or could I pay it on Friday? How
You
many
can pay on
cents worth?
Friday.
I can pay on Friday? Right, great, thank you.
Your Honor, for the record, could you clarify the sentence?
Sure, 125 fine.
Not the fines, but are we waiving the points in lieu of going to the
No,
driving?
we're not
school?
waiving points, we're waiving the class.
Okay,
She just doesn't have to take
Does the class help with the points or not?
no. We're waiving the
Okay.
level 1 driving class.
okay.
The points can't change or won't change. That's 3 points. And just for convenience, I'll make it due on 24th. Any questions?
No, thank you so much. My dog?
See my clerk, please.
Okay,
Daniel Fruling, that's how you say your name? David Fruling. Written in 2 different ways, 2 different places. No, Mr. Fruling's not here or left.
I,
You know,
just call his name.
Mr. Furley, good afternoon. Sir, you were summoned to court to answer charges or allegations that you violated Frisco Municipal Code Section 79-2. Only failure to have control of pets, first offense. Do you understand the nature of the charge?
Yes, sir.
I have to tell you, the maximum penalty is up to 364 days in jail and or up to a $2,650 fine or a combination of both. You understand the maximum possible penalty.
Yes.
You were provided a written advisement of legal rights. You get a chance to read and review those rights.
Yes.
Do you have any questions about those rights?
Yes.
Do you feel you understand them?
Yes.
Do you know what a trial is?
Yes.
You understand you have all the rights you have at a trial and all the rights leading up to trial if you chose to have them.
Yes.
And you understand you have a right to an attorney.
Yes.
In paperwork, it says instead of that, you wish to enter into what's called a deferred judgment agreement. And the way that works is you are expected to state a plea of guilty to the original charge. However, that guilty plea will go into a temporary court record we call it a deferred record. If you satisfy and complete the conditions of the agreement, which seem to be simply not to have any other violations of this type, and reserving restitution, at the end of the 12-month period, the case would be dismissed and sealed automatically under Colorado statutes. If at any time you were to violate the conditions, and again, the only condition of not to have any other violations like this, there'd be a hearing about the conditions, and if it was found you violated the conditions, the guilty plea would enter on the permanent record, and you would be subject to being resentenced and could still face those original penalties. Do you think you understand that procedure?
Yes.
And is that what you wish to do?
Yes.
You understand by pleading guilty, you are giving up all the rights listed in the right sheet, which means there'll be no trial, there'll be no witnesses. The prosecutor will not have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You're giving up your presumption of innocence and right to an attorney. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Anybody threaten you, force you, coerce you, or otherwise make you plead guilty against your will?
No.
Anybody promise you anything that's not been said in court? Is this your free and voluntary plea?
Yes.
And are you under the influence of anything that affects your ability to make a decision?
Yes.
Now we've covered the checklist. How do you plead to the charge of failure to have owner control of pets?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
Court accepts your plea, found you freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. You're entitled to make a statement and welcome to make a statement, but you're not required to make a statement. Is there anything that you would like to tell me?
It was in a complete accident. So I was doing my laundry with them for the first time, just got them. And I was on the phone doing a little too much and they slipped off out of my hand. And I'm not sure if that plays any weight to you, but I figured I would let you know. And I will never let it happen again. That I do appreciate y'all working with me.
Well, I appreciate you taking responsibility. I'll just impose the standard fee of $50, but there's $30 court cost and $25 surcharge for a total of $105. Are you working? Can you pay that?
Yes, sir.
All right, please see my court.
Where do you want?
Just to the side here. Helen Choke, Boteco? Yeah, this is an interpreter case.
Yes.
Nice to see you again. Do you solemnly swear you state your name for the record?
Patricia Cruz.
Do you solemnly swear you faithfully translate each and every word stated verbatim from English to Spanish and Spanish to English to the best of your ability under penalty of perjury? Ma'am, you were summoned to court for 2 alleged violations of the model traffic code.
Yes.
First, it is alleged that you were speeding. You understand the nature of the charge of speeding.
Yes.
And specifically speeding 20 to 39 miles over the posted limit, which is a 6-point violation against your driving record. And a possible fine as high as $2,650. The second charge is that you had no proof of compulsory insurance. Do you understand what that means?
Yes.
And the maximum penalty on that charge is 4 points on your driving record and a possible fine of $2,650. That charge also has a minimum penalty if you're found guilty of that.
También esa multa, si eres culpable, tiene un pago mínimo.
The state legislature passed a law saying it should be at least $500.
La legislación del estado de Colorado pide que al menos sean $500 como mínimo.
Unless mitigation is shown,
Dice, prueba o recomendación que se pueda hacer.
which usually means you've gotten insurance since then, or there were other extenuating circumstances.
Pruebas, porque ya existe. O alguna otra circunstancia extrema.
Do you understand both the minimum and the maximum?
Yes.
You were provided the written advisement of legal rights. Did you have an adequate amount of time to have that translated for you? Do you have any questions about your legal rights? Do you feel you understand them? Do you know what a trial is?
Yes.
And you understand you have a right to a trial?
Yes.
And you understand you have a right to an attorney?
Yes.
I have paperwork that says, as far as the speeding charge, the prosecutor was willing to have you plead to an amended charge of 3-point speeding. Is that what you want to do regarding the speeding?
Yes.
The paperwork is actually incomplete. It doesn't tell me about the insurance charge. Do you have insurance now?
No.
And you did not have it, that at the time of the ticket either.
No tenía seguro cuando fui multada. Sí lo tenía, pero cambié de carro. I did have insurance, but I changed the car and the company, the insurance company were not able to send me that proof that I did have insurance at that time.
I think we're gonna have to ask the prosecutor what he wanted to do with that insurance charge. Could you ask, officer, could you ask Nick if he'd come in for a minute, please?
Yeah.
I've got your paperwork on this case about the speeding charge, but it doesn't give me direction about the insurance charge.
There's a check mark on there that says, plead guilty. No?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, it does.
Okay.
I missed that, my apologies.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's no deal on this one.
So this says you're going to plead guilty to that no proof of insurance charge. Is that what you want to do?
Yes.
All right. I'm gonna say by pleading guilty, you're giving up all the rights listed on the right sheet. That means there'll be no trial and no witnesses. It means the prosecutor will not have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. It means you're giving up your presumption of innocence and right to an attorney. Did anybody threaten you, force you, coerce you, or otherwise make you plead guilty against your will?
No.
Did anybody promise you anything that's not been said in court?
No.
Is this your free and voluntary plea?
Yes.
Are you under the influence of anything that affects your ability to make a decision? Now that we've covered the required questions, how do you plead to 3-point speeding, guilty or not? And how do you plead to no proof of insurance?
Guilty.
Court accepts both pleas, finding them to be freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. You are entitled to make a statement and welcome to make a statement about either what happened or what the penalty should be, but you're also not required to say anything further if you want to remain silent. Is there anything you'd like to tell me?
No, I'm fine.
Let me ask you a question to be more clear about what you've already said. You presently have another car?
Yes.
All right. And is it insured?
Yes.
Okay. After the speeding charge, the fine will be $125 and 25 costs and 30 surcharge, the other way around. Total is $180. On the no proof of insurance, I will make that the required 500, but suspend half of it for showing mitigation. And we're already collecting the costs from you, so I will just add the 250 onto that. But that makes it a very expensive $430. I assume you'll need time to pay that.
Yes.
How much a month can you pay?
And whatever was
I can make $100 payment a month,
Okay,
and then whatever is the rest of the last
it's
month.
just 30, so. And I will set this for review on our November court date. Janice, do you have that? Or I can
I'm looking.
look it up on.
It'd be November 20.
So if you get it all paid by November 20th, no problem. If you haven't got it all paid, you need to come to court on November 20th and update your financial situation. Are you clear how that works? Because if you don't finish paying and don't show to court, then I have to issue a warrant, and you don't want that. I also would allow, if you prefer to do community service, credit for community service that you do. Are you interested in that, or you just want to take care of the money on a payment number?
What is a community service?
Community service is you donate your time to a charity, like a church, the FERC, or if, I'm not sure where they're from, down in Denver, it'd be like ARC or Salvation Army or Goodwill. And you donate your time volunteering with them, any charity that's officially recognized by the government.
No quieres tomar el dinero. No.
Okay. Please see my court clerk. Tyler Michaud. Is that how you say your name, sir?
Yes, sir.
Sir, you were summoned to court to answer allegations you violated Model Traffic Code Section 1101 speeding 10 to 19 over the posted limit. Do you understand the charge?
Yes, sir.
Maximum penalty is 4 points on your driving record and a possible fine of up to $1,000. Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes, sir.
You were provided a written advisement of legal rights. Did you get a chance to read and review those rights?
Yes, I did.
Do you have any questions about those rights?
No, sir.
Do you feel you understand them?
Yes, sir.
Do you know what a trial is?
Yes, sir.
I have paperwork that says instead of a trial, you wish to enter into agreement to pay and plead guilty to a 2-point defective vehicle. Is that correct?
That's correct.
We understand by doing that, you are giving up all the rights listed in the right sheet, which means there'll be no trial, there'll be no witnesses. The prosecutor won't have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yes, sir.
And by threaten you, force you, coerce you, or otherwise make you plead guilty against your will.
No, sir.
Is this your free and voluntary plea?
Yes, it is.
If I promise you anything that's not been said in court,
No, sir.
are you under the influence of anything that affects your ability to make a decision? Now, we've covered the required questions. How do you plead to defective vehicle?
Guilty.
Court accepts your plea, find you freely, voluntarily, and knowingly. You're entitled to make a statement and welcome to, but not required to. Is there anything you want to tell me?
No, sir.
All right. Court will enter a $75 fine, 25 surcharge and 30 costs for a total of 130. Can you pay that to them?
Yes, I can.
You've seen that court?
Thank you very much.
Dan, is that, you got separated? That was a separate file.
It is.
Tyler Griffin. Howdy. Sir, you were summoned to court on an allegation that you violated section 1101 of the traffic code, speeding 10 to 19 over the posted limit. Do you understand the charge?
Yes, sir.
Maximum penalties, 4 points on your driving record, and a possible fine as high as $1,000. Do you understand the possible penalty?
Yes, sir.
You were provided written advisement of legal rights. Did you get a chance to read and review those rights?
I did.
Do you have any questions about those rights?
I do not.
Do you feel you understand them?
I do.
Do you know what a trial is?
I do.
You understand you have a right to hire an attorney?
I do.
I have paperwork. No, I don't have any paperwork. How do you wish to proceed?
No contest.
Okay. You understand the court gets for sentencing purposes, gets to treat a no contest as guilty. You understand by pleading no contest, you're giving up all the rights listed in the right sheet, which means there will be no trial, there will be no witnesses. Prosecutor won't have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You are giving up the presumption of innocence and the right to an attorney. Then I threaten you, force you, coerce you, will make you plead guilty against your will.
I did not.
Then I promise you anything that have been said in court. Is this your free and voluntary plea?
Yeah.
Are you under the influence of anything that affects your ability to make a decision?
I'm not.
Now we've covered those questions. How do you plead to the charge again?
I have no contest.
Or an exception, no contest plea, finding you freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. You're entitled to make statements and not required to. Is there anything you'd like to tell?
If I have, sir, thank you. My mom is currently, she was recently diagnosed with, paranoid schizophrenia, and I'm taking full custody of her. I'm in the process of it, as well as fully taking care of my younger brother at the time. And I cannot afford, the ticket for the insurance fees that come along with it. And I understand that, I'm pleading no contest, and I have duty to pay fines and do what I must to make up for it. However, I hope that you'll hear that.
Well, you've answered a question I was going to ask because you had a very bad 2023.
Yes, I did.
You had a speeding ticket in Rio Blanco, you had a speeding ticket in Utah.
Yep.
You had a disregard of a traffic control device in Summit and
Yes.
drove a vehicle while licensed under restraint. When I
Yes.
see that many tickets clustered, it usually means someone's having some emotional crisis of some kind. So you've answered the question about what's going on. You're gonna have to not let your emotions come out in your driving.
Yes, sir.
What I'm gonna do is the following. I'm gonna impose $300, but suspend all of it down to $0 on condition that you complete a level 1 driving class, which will cost you a minor amount of tuition.
Thank you, sir.
But you've got to learn to separate your emotions from your driving. I understand you're in tough circumstances, but it is possible. Or you need to not be driving.
Understood.
Get on a bicycle. Get on an electric bike. But we can't have you speeding around like this and running lights. You're a danger to the rest of us. And so I'm gonna give you 60 days to get that done, which would be is court September 21st, I think,
18th.
18th. So get that done by September 18th. That's proof to the court by then or appear then. I am going to impose the court costs of $30 and surcharge of 25, so it'll be only 55. Essentially, you're getting no fine in consideration of you taking the class and learning how to do better.
Thank you, sir.
All right, please see my court.
Your Honor,
Yes,
may I get something on the record?
you may.
There was a citation number 07486 for Mr. Glenn Reynolds. It was a alleged violation of Model Traffic Code Section 1208, parenthetical 5. The town would move to dismiss that citation. Mr. Reynolds provided proof of a temporary handicap tag that he just didn't have on his person.
Court will grant the motion.
Thank you.
Hello, Wendell. Wendell. How do you say your names?
I don't know.
Sir, you were summoned to court for an alleged violation of Model Traffic Code Section 1101, speeding 10 to 19 over the posted limit. Do you understand the charge?
Yes.
Maximum penalty is $1,000 and 4 points on your driving record. Do you understand the possible penalty? You were provided a written advisement of legal rights. Did you have a chance to read and review those rights?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about those rights?
No
Do
question.
you feel you understand them?
I do.
Do you know what a trial is?
I do.
And you understand you have a right to an attorney.
Yes.
I have paperwork that says instead of a trial, you wish to enter into an agreement to plead guilty to 3 points speeding. Is that what you wish to do?
I do.
You understand by doing so, you are giving up all the rights listed in the right sheet, which means there'll be no trial, there'll be no witnesses. The prosecutor will not have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You're giving up your presumption of innocence and right to an attorney.
I understand.
Did anybody threaten you, force you, coerce you, or otherwise make you plead guilty against your will? Did anybody promise you anything that's not been said in court?
Nope.
Is this your free and voluntary plea?
Yes.
Are you under the influence of anything that affects your ability to make a decision?
No.
Now we've asked the required questions. How do you plead to the charge?
Guilty.
Court accepts your plea, I may freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. You're entitled to make a statement and welcome to, but not required to say anything further. Is there anything you'd like to tell me?
No.
So I understand the minimal offer, but you've had a gap here.
Yes.
You had a ticket earlier this year in Summit County Court. And then going back to 2019, you had a very bad year in 2019.
I did.
Then you had a gap and had a bad year in 2017.
Yes. Very
So,
bad.
same question about what's your emotional mental state that you have these lapses?
Yeah, I've been doing good lately, just excited somewhere, I guess. Past couple speeding tickets.
Has anyone sent you to driving school along the way?
Yes, I did go to driving school after the 2019 whole incident. All right, I think the way I'll handle this, rather than requiring the driving school, I'll impose a $300 fine, but I will suspend 200 of it on condition you have no tickets for a year. You can do that.
And then with that $100, there would be the $25 cost, $3 surcharge for a total of $155 that would be due today. Can you pay that?
Yes.
All right. You get into any trouble anywhere else, you can owe us money.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Thank you.
see my clerk. Natalie Ravel. How do you say your name?
Real quick.
And you're summoned to court for an alleged violation of model traffic code section 1101. Speeding 20 to 39 miles an hour over the posted limit. Do you understand the charge?
Yes,
Possible penalty is up to $1,000 fine and 6 points on your driving record. If you're more than 25, over possible 10 days in jail. You understand the possible penalty? I'm sorry?
I didn't know that part, but yes,
You were provided a written advisement of legal rights. Did you chance to read and review your legal rights?
yes,
Do you have any questions about those rights?
No.
Do you feel you understand them?
no, not really.
All right, what do you not understand?
I guess I wasn't informed about I was just informed that it was just gonna be a ticket.
Sure. That's why I'm informing you now.
Okay,
But the prosecutor's not seeking jail, so there's, you would have to note that on here, but I think my job is to tell you that could have been a possibility.
Okay.
What other questions do you have?
I would just like to make it clear that I had a medical thing going on at the time. I really needed to get home.
You're getting ahead of me a little bit.
It was just at the moment. I've never had a speeding violation, I've never had an accident, never had anything. I needed to get home.
Okay. There's a spot for that in a little bit. Bear with me.
Okay.
Where we're at now is I need to make sure you understand the nature of the charge. You told me you understand the speeding. And you understand the maximum penalty, you told me. And question is, do you understand your legal rights as far as these 13 points on the sheet you signed?
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be dropped off the stairs.
Okay, we're still before that. The law kind of goes in a sort of order on a checklist and you're skipping ahead on me.
Okay.
All right, so the question at this point is just, do you understand your legal? You understand you have a right to a trial?
Yes,
You understand you have a right to contest the charges?
yes,
You understand as part of that process, if you were to plead not guilty, that the prosecutor would have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt to overcome your presumption of innocence.
Okay.
You understand that?
yes,
Okay. And you understand that at a trial, you would have the right to cross-examine the witnesses against you. You understand that you would have the right to bring in witnesses on your own behalf, but you're not required to. And you'd have the right to testify or not testify as you chose. And you understand that's all part of the trial process.
yes,
Okay. And you have the right to hire an attorney because there's no jail penalty, there's no free attorneys on this. And so you have a basic understanding of what was in this sheet that you signed when you read it.
yes.
Now, question is how you wish to handle your case. I don't have any note from the prosecutor as to what disposition you wish to have. You wish to set this matter for trial? Or
Yes.
Yes? Okay. We'll set this for trial next month. We'll say that we'll start the trial at 5:30.
Yeah.
All right. If you need subpoenas for witnesses, please contact my court clerk. The subpoenas are free, no cost to you, but the cost of serving them properly would be your responsibility. And if you require any discovery, that should be run through the clerk. Any questions about that?
You said it's not cost, or I'm confused, I'm sorry.
Sure, I'm trying to understand what you're confused about.
You said that there would be a subpoena, but
No, if you have witnesses you want to come to court, You are entitled to get subpoenas to make them come to court.
Okay, how about documents?
If there's documents you wish to subpoena, you can get subpoenas for that too.
And do I have to, is there a process for that? Because
Yes,
you
that's
have
what I'm telling you. You need
documents.
to tell my clerk, submit to my clerk in writing what subpoenas you want for who or what documents.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Right. And that I always order, that needs to be done at least 2 weeks before trial. Since trial is only a month away, that means we need to get that request to her within the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No,
All right, please see my court clerk.
thank you.
Richard Riverson Rodriguez. Please remember you're still under interpreter's oath. Sir, you were summoned to court to answer the charge that you were speeding. You understand what speeding means?
Yes,
Specifically, it said that you were speeding more than 20 miles an hour and less than 39 miles an hour over the posted limit. You understand that?
Sí.
The maximum penalty is a fine of up to $2,650. 6 points on your driving record. And if you're more than 25 miles an hour over the posted limit, 10 days in jail. You understand the maximum possible penalty?
yes,
You were provided a written advisement of legal rights, our Spanish version. Did you get a chance to read and review your legal rights?
yes.
Do you have any questions about your legal rights?
No.
Do you feel you understand them?
Yes, I did understand.
Do you know what a trial is?
Sí.
Yes.
And you understand you have a right to an attorney?
Sí.
Yes,
I have paperwork that says instead of a trial, you wish to agree to a 3-point speeding ticket. And a traffic class. Is that what you wish to do?
Sí.
yes,
You understand that by pleading guilty to 3-point speeding, you are giving up all the rights listed in the right sheet.
usted entiende que si usted firma ese documento y si usted se declara que quiere aceptar ese arreglo, está dejando ya sus otros derechos que estaban en el.
That means there'll be no trial and no witnesses.
Eso quiere decir que no va a haber juicio.
No.
It means you're giving up your presumption of innocence and right to an attorney.
Eso quiere decir que usted está dejando su derecho a juicio. Si usted entiende el juicio,
Eso correcto.
Did anybody threaten you, force you, coerce, or otherwise make you plead guilty against your will?
no,
Did anybody promise you anything that's not been said in court?
No.
Is this your free and voluntary plea?
Sí.
Are you under the influence of anything that affects your ability to make a decision?
No.
Now we've covered the required questions. How do you plead to 3-point speeding, guilty or not?
Cargo de manejar exceso de velocidad.
Me quedo culpable.
I declare myself guilty.
Court will accept your plea, find to be freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made.
La corte acepta su declaración.
You are entitled to make a statement and you are welcome to make a statement, but you are not required to say anything further before I impose a sentence. Is there anything you'd like to tell me?
Usted si quiere declarar algo, no es requerido que lo declare. Si quiere lo puede hacer antes de mi
Quiero dar las gracias.
I want to thank you.
I'm showing, as far as recent tickets, 2019, a ticket in Denver, and then a big gap back to 2010, also in Denver.
Que tenía
And then 2009 in Aurora and 2008 in Arapahoe. So you've had a big gap in tickets. It's been 5 years since your last ticket. Sound right?
Sí, correcto.
Yes, that's correct.
All right.
Sí. Dile que lo que pasó es que no logré ver los signs donde cambió la velocidad.
I was not aware that the speeding changed when I was driving, and it was a mistake.
On any of those earlier tickets, were you to driving school?
Dice que nosotros no pasamos, no lo mandaron a la escuela, ¿no?
No.
No.
All right, I will require the level 1 driving school. That's the easiest and cheapest.
Dice que lo va a mandar que tome uno de escuela de médico, así y la tenemos.
To be completed by October 23rd or appear here.
Así que la tiene que haber terminado.
And as far as, are you working?
Sí.
Yes.
As far as the fines, I will make the fine $125 and 25 cost, $30 surcharge for a total of $180. Can you pay that today or do you need time?
Necesito tiempo.
I need time.
Okay. 1 month or 2?
2 meses.
2 months.
All right. I'll just make that due by the October 23rd date, just so all the dates are the same.
Bueno, voy a poner la fecha.
Any questions?
¿La clase es online o presencial?
The class is online. or-
Online. My court clerk will give you paperwork that explains how to do that. Please see her.
Thank you.
Carlos Roldan Mercado. Sir, you were here in May, and I believe you were advised. Do you feel you need to be re-advised of your rights?
No.
Okay. And I don't have any paperwork telling me what you want to do, so tell me what you want to do. I'm sorry?
Plead guilty.
All right. You understand by pleading guilty, you're giving up all the rights listed in the right sheet, which means there'll be no trial, there'll be no witnesses. The prosecutor will not have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You are giving up the presumption of innocence and right to an attorney. Did anybody threaten you, force you, coerce you, or make you plead guilty against your will?
No, Your Honor.
Did anybody promise you anything not said in court?
No.
Is this your free and voluntary plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions? Are you under the influence of anything that affects your ability to make a decision?
No, Your Honor.
Did anybody promise you anything not said in court?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Now that I've covered those questions, I have to ask you to repeat, how do you plead to the charge? Court accepts your plea, I do freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. You're entitled to make a statement, and welcome to. Is there anything you want to tell me?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Are you currently suspended or?
Yes.
Okay. Then you know you're driving. I don't have to go over that with you.
Yeah.
Now they made you go to driving class.
No.
All right. My goal is to make it so you don't end up coming back. So, the way I'm gonna do that is. So find the original. I'll impose the $200 fine that comes with the ticket, but I will suspend that down to $100 on condition you complete a level 2 driving class. That can be online. And then there's court costs and surcharge of 25 and 30 for a total of 55 in those costs. So the total due is 155. Can you pay that or do you need time?
I need to.
How much time?
Can I get like a month?
Sure. I'll even make it, since you're gonna have to do that class, I'll make everything due October 23rd. Proof of the class and the fine by then, just to make it easier to remember things.
Your Honor.
Yes.
When I was speaking with the defendant, prior to coming in here, I explained to him that since it was a motor vehicle accident, that I would ask that you just reserve restitution for 91 days as part of this plea.
We will do that.
Thank you.
Which is probably right about that same October date.
I believe so. I believe it's October 16th, if I remember correctly from my afternoon court session.
Very good. Please see my court clerk for paperwork. Yeah. I believe that's the docket call except for the trial. Are we ready on the trial?
Yes, Your Honor. Our town's witness is here.
Okay. We call the case. Mr. Gomez, are you ready for trial, sir? All right, please come forward and have a seat at the table. We provided you our trial rights and procedures. Did you have any questions you wanted to ask about that handout?
No, sir.
All right. I'm gonna assume everybody understood everything. For the people, any opening statement?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Gomez, any opening statement for you?
No, sir.
All right, first witness.
Your Honor, the people call Officer Caleb Wilson, Frisco Police Department.
Officer Wilson, would you come forward to this chair near me and raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury? I do. Please be seated.
James, thank you for this opportunity.
And please proceed.
1 second, Your Honor.
Mhm.
Okay. Could you please state your name and occupation for the record?
Yes, Caleb Wilson, police officer, Frisco, Colorado.
And how long have you been a police officer?
Been police officer since December 23.
And how long with the Frisco Police Department?
It's been employed since August of 2023, but on the road since 2020, December of 2023.
Okay. So were you employed by the Frisco PD as a police officer on March 10th, 2024?
Yes,
And were you on duty at 10:25 a.m. that day?
yes.
And do you remember what sorts of duties you were performing at that time?
I was performing traffic monitor or speed monitoring from the pump house, which is about 100 yards north of Main Street in Summit.
And as part of the speed monitoring, does this duty include issuing traffic citations?
Yes,
And did you issue any traffic citations on March 10th, 2024 at Summit Boulevard and Main Street?
yes,
And have you received prior training in the estimation of vehicular speed?
yes.
Could you describe that training for the court?
Yeah, so I usually pick a fixed location from where I'm sitting at. And depending on how a vehicle is approaching that fixed object, I can visually estimate whether they are going, the speed limit, roughly 5 miles an hour above the speed limit, 10 miles above the speed limit. It's in 5 mile per hour increments is usually how I visually estimate speeds.
And you were utilizing this training on March 10th, 2024?
Yes,
So on March 10th, 24 at 10:25 a.m., you're stationary, as you said, near the pump house.
Yep.
And what did you observe?
I observed the defendant's vehicle traveling towards me at a visual speed estimate of 50 miles an hour. When I noticed his vehicle was traveling at a high rate of speed and got my VSE, I put my LiDAR up to confirm my VSE. And the LiDAR read by a steady tone of 50, 51, 51 miles per hour in the 35 mile per hour zone.
And what is the speed limit on Summit Boulevard for that section you were monitoring?
It is 35 miles per hour.
And is that speed limit posted heading southbound on Summit Boulevard?
Yeah, it's approximately 4 speed limit signs from I-70 until my location.
And okay, so would those 4 signs have been matched or been seen by the defendant
Yes.
traveling southbound? And in what town, county, and state is Main and Summit, the intersection of Main and Summit Boulevard?
It's town of Frisco, Summit County, Colorado.
And you mentioned you did a visual speed estimate and you used your LiDAR. Could you just briefly tell the court what a LiDAR is?
Yeah, LiDAR, it's a instrument to tell what speed a individual is coming towards it. It's a laser, that's a pinpoint laser, that when I set it onto a vehicle that's coming at me, it sends a laser back to my device and it states how fast they're going from a certain amount of distance, which in this case, it was the 588 feet is what my laser reported. He was going 51 miles an hour.
So your kind of standard practice here is visual speed estimate and then use the LiDAR to confirm this.
Yes.
And have you received any training pertaining to the LiDAR device?
Yes, I have.
And are there any sorts of certifications?
LiDAR radar certification. I received that through Colorado Mountain College.
Your Honor, I have what's been previously marked as People's Exhibit 1. Let the record show I'm showing a copy to the defendant. May I approach?
You may.
Officer Wilson, do you recognize this document?
Yes, I did.
And how do you recognize that document?
I was awarded to it when I was graduated the class for LiDAR and radar.
And is it in substantially the same condition as when you were awarded it?
Yes,
And is that your name on the certificate?
yes.
And does this certificate indicate that you successfully completed this training and that you can perform accurate visual speed estimates as well as operate a LiDAR device?
Yes.
Your Honor, I ask that People's Exhibit 1, Caleb Wilson's LiDAR certificate be admitted into evidence.
Any objection? No objection admitted.
So, Officer Wilson, you've received this training and you operate this device as part of your normal duties. I will now ask, is there any sort of calibration that you perform to ensure the device is working properly?
Yes, so before I start my shift, when I get the device started up, as I turn it on, it does a sequence test within the device. And it shows a digital display saying that test was successful. And then after that, I go outside to the east side of the building of the police department. And from a stationary light pole, I aim the laser at a sign that's approximately 43 feet away from me, just to make sure I have that distance that has always been recorded when it was certified. As far as the side alignment goes, I point my LiDAR at Mount Royal and I drag it across until it hits the tower out in the east parking lot. And when the sights hit that tower, that's when I should get a good reading on distance. Or it should just tell me it's hitting that tower.
And these tests that you've described, are they also known as the operations, known distance, and sight alignment tests?
Yes.
And these tests, did you perform these tests on March 10th, 2024?
Yes.
Prior to going out on your shift?
Yes.
Prior to 10:25 a.m. that day?
Yes.
And do you recall performing those tests on those days and what results you received from those tests?
When I did the distance test, got the 43-foot reading. That was told by one of my supervisors off the LiDAR, and got a accurate sight alignment test as well.
And Officer Wilson, apart from your own testing of the accuracy of the device, is there other ways to ensure the device is accurate?
Yes, there's a state certification where we actually send the device in. They certify it through the state themselves. That's the other testing.
And Your Honor, I have what's been previously marked People's Exhibit 2. Show a copy to the defendant and approach.
You may.
Now, Officer Wilson, do you recognize this document?
Yes,
And how do you recognize this document?
it was sent to me by a supervisor.
And is that document related to your LiDAR device?
Yes, it is.
And how is it so related?
I can tell by the serial number. The serial number at the top, first sentence, the LA 003081.
And that is the serial number of the device that you used on March 10th, 2024?
Correct.
And how do you know that it's the same serial number?
Because that's the only LiDAR that I will use, and I make sure that that's the serial number that I have written down before my shift.
And what's the significance of this calibration record related to the device?
Can you repeat it as far as?
Yeah, sure, that was poorly worded. How does this record relate to the device's accuracy?
So again, this is the certificate stating that it was tested by the state itself to know that it is an accurate LiDAR, and it is capable of being used in the field.
And would you say that that copy in front of you is a true and accurate representation of the certificate as you've previously seen it?
Yes,
And has it been altered in any way other than the red text that's superimposed?
no,
And you would say it's a accurate reflection of the document?
yes,
Your Honor, I would ask that the certification for laser unit LA 00308 be admitted into evidence as People's Exhibit 2.
Any objection? No. No objection admitted.
So with all of this in mind, Officer Wilson, based on your training and experience, was your laser device operating correctly on the date of this test?
yes,
Your Honor, at this time, I would ask you to take judicial notice of the scientific principles underlying the use of laser to determine speed pursuant to People v. Walker, 610 P2D 496, Colorado, 1980.
Mr. Gomez, any response to that? Court will so take note of scientific principles, though, as I recall, Walker's actually the DUI case. And this court actually conducted its own hearing about 5 years ago. And has, with its own evidence, recognized the scientific principles of LiDAR and so noted and entered in the record.
I will have to get the court clerk to share that opinion with me. Thank you, Your Honor. So, Officer Wilson, turning back to March 10th, 2024, could you just briefly go over again your use of the LiDAR device?
yes. So like I said, about 100 yards north of Main Street and Summit Boulevard intersection, there's a pump house that I sit at, and I monitor traffic speeds. As I saw the defendant traveling towards me, I visually estimated his speed to be 50 miles an hour, used LiDAR to confirm his speed to be 51 miles an hour, as it read a steady tone of 50, 51, 51 in the 35-mile-per-hour zone. I initiated a traffic stop, advised him that he was going 51 and a 35. He told me I did not see 51, but whatever. And I issued him the citation, advised him on his court date or his fine, and cleared from there.
And how do you know that the car that you visually estimated the speed of and used the device on is the car that you pulled over?
Like I said, with the LiDAR, it is a pinpoint accurate laser from side alignment, and I can tell that it was his vehicle from where I pointed the sights onto his vehicle. So that's how I could tell it was his vehicle and not another one.
And could you again just please ID the driver of the vehicle that you pulled over on that day? Your Honor, let the record reflect that Officer Wilson identified the defendant.
It should so reflect.
Officer Wilson, that's about all I have for you. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the court today?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Gomez, your opportunity to cross-examine this witness and ask him questions. Please proceed.
I don't have any questions.
Any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor, the people rest.
All right, Officer Wilson, you may step down. Mr. Gomez, this is your opportunity to present witnesses if you choose, but you're not required to. Do you have any witnesses you wish to present?
Unfortunately, the only two witnesses I had at the time who were in the community are not from the state and they're not here for any purposes regarding that.
And then next you have the opportunity to, but are not required to testify yourself. Do you think you wish to testify?
Yes.
I'm required to go through a more detailed version of that under the holding of the case of People versus Curtis. You understand, first of all, that you have an absolute right to remain silent under the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution and a similar provision of the Colorado Constitution.
Yes, sir.
You understand if you remain silent, it does not imply wrongdoing. Let me stop there. You understand that?
Yes.
If you choose to waive your right to remain silent, you do get treated like any other witness. In that we don't make you ask yourself questions, but you get to make a statement under oath. And then you would be subject to cross-examination by the prosecutor. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And you understand in that cross-examination, you would be subject to questions that comply with the rules of evidence, but those could involve questions that either impeach your testimony, contradict your testimony, or go into what your driving record may be, or things of that nature could be asked of you when you testify and then are subject to cross-examination.
Yes.
You also understand that once you waive the right, you do completely subject to the rules of evidence. All the questions put to you must be proper under the rules of evidence, but you can't like answer the first 6 questions and think those are fine, but you don't like the 7th question and say you want to reassert your right to remain silent. If it's a proper question on the rules of evidence, you would be compelled to answer that 7th question. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Knowing all those things, do you still wish to testify?
Yes, I do.
Counselor, do you believe I've complied with Curtis?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let me, you may come up here closer to the court up here. Let me place you under oath. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under any perjury?
Yes.
Please be seated. Please make your statement.
As Officer Wilson here stated, he said that I said I did not see it. And truth be told, I'm new to the area. I'm not from Colorado originally. I've been here almost a year now. Still struggling, trying to figure out you guys' traffic laws in general. It's very different from the East Coast. Especially the further out you go from the city, as I've come to learn. And so that day, as I mentioned earlier, I did have 2 witnesses who cannot be here. And we were going just fine. And my understanding was it was 55 miles an hour zone that rapidly changed to 35 right before the rotary in that area. So as he also stated, I was going 51, and my knowledge, I was already slowing down the moment I saw the first sign. He stated there were 4 signs. Again, I'm not from Colorado, didn't see that. This is my 2nd time at that point in time in the mountain area. So I really had no idea where the signs were posted or what. It's similar to the dips in the city. There's not always signage for that, but you don't really see them. There's things you learn as you go. Yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say in regards to that. He says exactly what I said. I didn't see it, but I have knowledge that it's a 55 zone, not a 35 up until I got closer to the rotary.
Cross-examination.
None, Your Honor.
Okay. And just one by the court. Did you come from I-70 and then you were headed toward Breckenridge? Is that correct?
I believe so.
Okay.
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure which route,
But you came from I-70.
I believe so.
Any questions based on the court's question?
No, Your Honor.
Any further statement by you, Mr. Gomez?
Honestly, that was it, pretty much.
Okay, you may step down.
Thank you.
Closing argument for the people.
Only, Your Honor, that the court heard reliable testimony that the citing officer performed a visual speed estimate and then verified that visual speed estimate with a LiDAR device that appears to have been working properly and accurately on the date in question, and that the defendant himself admits to the speed in question.
Mr. Gomez, closing statement. The court's required to find proof beyond a reasonable doubt the defendant committed the offense alleged. What the court finds factually is Officer Wilson was on duty on March 10th. At what he called the pump house location, which is located along Colorado Highway 9, also known as Summit Boulevard, within the town limits of the town of Frisco, is testified to within Summit County in the state of Colorado. He had been trained to be within 5 miles an hour of his visual estimates and estimated visual speed at 50. And the LiDAR indicated 50, 51, 51. All the testimony indicates the LiDAR was operating properly. There was no impeachment of the LiDAR operation. There was no impeachment of the officer's training. There was no impeachment of the calibration of the LiDAR device, and the court finds that the operational known distance and site alignment test was successfully performed, so the LiDAR was operating properly. The scientific principles that apply to this case do indicate that LiDAR is a reasonable and, in fact, scientifically based way to determine the speed of a vehicle. The defendant's defense is essentially, I didn't see the signs. My impression was 55. Unfortunately, speeding is what we would call a strict liability offense, that a driver is responsible for going at or below the posted speeds, as long as those speeds are posted in accordance with the Uniform Highway Safety requirements. And there's been no testimony indicating the signs were otherwise, and there were in fact 4 of them. And the court also knows that from personal experience from living here for 30 years. I realized the defendant was at a disadvantage in the sense that he was new to the area, but the law requires everybody going through an area to pay due diligence to look for appropriate signage. The court did not find or hear of any evidence impeaching the adequacy or the compliance of the signs with the required posting requirements. And therefore, I do have no choice but to find the defendant guilty of speeding the 10 to 19 over the posted limit as alleged in the citation. Any further comments for the people?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Gomez, any statement by you? You're not required to, but you are welcome to say anything else you'd like to.
Again, I'm not from here, still trying to figure it out. It's been a rough year. I come from Colorado in general. I drive primarily for work, so I try to pride myself on, for the most part, being pretty good at that. Again, we already discussed I'm guilty in this case, but I really did not see the signage until I got closer to the rotary where it said it was 35 miles an hour. Everything else prior to that, in my recollection, said 55.
Okay. And I have to tell you, there are no 55 signs on Highway 9 until you get out of the town of Frisco, closer to Breckenridge. That whole strip from I-70 to this location is 35, and there are no 55s until you get south of Frisco, completely out of the town, actually. So I'm just going to impose the penalty as stated in the ticket to begin with. In fact, I will reduce that a little bit to $110 instead of the $140, but there are the $30 cost and $25 surcharge, which bring that to $165. Can you pay that today, or do you need time?
Yes, I can get that today, sir.
All right, you see my court clerk. You do have the right to appeal my decision today to the District and Appellate Courts of Colorado within 35 days of today's decision by following the Colorado Rules of Appellate Procedure. I believe that concludes our docket.
I believe so.
Thank you all.
Oh, she was back there.